as a child, I was very afraid to speak. I would be in an environment full of people and questions. People have the opportunity to. We all have the opportunity to ask questions, and I wouldn't ask questions. I would hope that other people would ask the questions that I have in my mind. I would never raise my hand and ask a question. I would never volunteer to speak. I wouldn't do what I'm doing right now because I was afraid to speak, because I didn't want people to laugh at me because I stuttered. And people did laugh at me because I stuttered. But going in the military, I realized that that stutter should not hold me back.
Welcome to the Cyber Health Podcast. I'm Stephen Perano, your host. And this is a place where we like to interview people in the medical field and the technology industry. We like to share their story, share their journey, but ultimately inspire you. And today in the studio, I'm very excited to have none other than Dr. Stephen Davis from Broward College. Welcome to the podcast. It's been a long time, right?
It sure has.
I've known you before you had those extra initials on your name. Would you like to share with the audience how we met?
Yes. Well, first, let me say I am indeed honored to be invited to participate in this podcast. I met you, probably 2006.
Wow.
2006. Yes, I had just started working at Bethesda Hospital up in Boynton Beach. I was in the education department. And you came in the office one day needing to get your CPR card, your CPR renewed ASAP. And so we had to jump through hoops to help you, or you wouldn't be able to continue working that day. So that's how I first met you.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this, I remember asking you about it, and you're like, yeah, and that's a $25 fee. And
yes.
I said, who's getting this money, the $25?
Yes, you did. That's right. I remember that. I forgot about that. Yes, you did say that. I'm like, what's wrong with this dude?
Like, where's this money going to? Why is it not free for the employees? But yeah.
I forgot about that. That's true. You did say that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was the start of a long friendship.
That was the start of a long friendship. See, so it pays to be honest with people and to, be memorable, right? Hopefully
Yeah.
it's in a good way.
Yeah.
But wow, it's really great to see you, and let me say thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come here and share some words of wisdom. Now, taking a step back, you mentioned that you were in the Navy.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I migrated to the United States from Jamaica. And
Boop, boop, boop. Jamaica, all right.
big up.
Where's Spanish from Jamaica?
I lived in a place called Spanish Town.
Uh-oh.
And then I went to school and worked in Kingston. When Spanish Town is about 13 miles, I don't know if I guess that would be west of Kingston. Well, I want to say 13 to 15 miles west of Kingston. So I went back and forth from there.
Okay, so you left Jamaica and you came on over.
Right, I'm sorry. Right, I came on over to America, and I immediately went to Broward College, Broward Community College, and I spent 2 years there. And then upon graduating from Broward College, in fact, while I was in my last year at Broward College, I signed up. I did the delayed entry program for the Navy. I was fascinated with the U.S. military, and to be truthful, I wanted to go in the Air Force. But somehow when I went to the building, because they have all of the recruiting offices in one spot, in one location.
Right, that's what they do.
So I went there to the building on Broad Boulevard, and the first one to catch me was the Navy. He dragged me, he pulled me inside and started talking to me, and then I did the ASVAB test, scored well in the ASVAB test, and next thing you know, I'm raising my right hand.
Wow.
So that was in, I can't remember what year that was in. That was in 86.
Mm-hmm.
1986 that was. Signed up, I said, I will serve this country. I hadn't even got my citizenship yet. I was just a resident, you could call them resident alien. I had a green card at the time. Went and served, and it was an experience. It was an interesting experience. I did 6.5 years in the Navy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I sometimes think I should have stayed for the full 20 plus years. I have friends who stayed and they're in two careers. They had a full career in the Navy, and they have another career now, and they haven't not even ready to retire yet. So, looking back at that, I think that was a mistake. But hey, I've done well outside of the Navy also. So,
Right.
so that's good. So I like the Navy. It's a very interesting job. It gave me an appreciation for the United States of America. It gave me an appreciation for the flag. And it's interesting when I think about the flag of the United States of America. I mean, I have so much respect for it. So if I was to see a tip of the flag on the ground, I'm going to stop it and I'm picking it up. The flag is not supposed to touch the ground. When you fold in the flag, you got to fold it and make sure nothing touches the ground. And it's been many years. I got to the Navy in '94. Many years has passed, but I still have that inner respect.
And now, and with that experience of being in the Navy, coming back out into civilian life, how did the Navy in all those years help you, would you say?
That's interesting. The Navy taught me a lot about myself. I was able to learn, well, first of all, I was a very shy person. I'm still shy. People don't believe it, but I'm still shy. In fact, I'm an introvert. People don't believe that either.
Right, no.
You didn't know that, did you? I'm an introvert.
I saw you at the club. I thought it was somebody else.
Somebody else. It wasn't me at the club. Yeah, I'm an introvert. As a child, I was very afraid to speak. I would be in an environment full of people and questions. People have the opportunity we all have the opportunity to ask questions, and I wouldn't ask questions. I would hope that other people would ask the questions I have in my mind. I would never raise my hand and ask a question. I would never volunteer to speak. I wouldn't do what I'm doing right now because I was afraid to speak, because I didn't want people to laugh at me because I stuttered. And people did laugh at me because I stuttered. But going in the military, I realized that stutter should not hold me back. I couldn't afford for it to hold me back, because it could mean my fellow military personnel's life for me holding back. So what I needed to do was to find a way to work through it. Taught me how to become collegial, to develop new friends, and appreciate them. It taught me how to respect different cultures. When I was living in Jamaica, it was primarily one culture. You have you do have different subcultures, but it's primarily one culture. When I came to America, I came out and lived in a very Caribbean community. When I went to the Navy, I was the only person at that time in my squadron. I was the only person from a Caribbean island, the only person. And it was an interesting experience. And I was forced to really speak out and make myself seen and known, and then get to know other people. And that helped me a lot. That really helped me a lot. So the different things, and then I got I developed my computer knowledge while in the Navy. Because whereas in 1987, when I went to the military and went to the Navy, very few places had computers.
Right.
Less than, I don't know, I'm going to say less than 1%, but I don't know the percentage. But there was very few places that had and used computers, but the Navy did, and my job required me to use it. And so back in those days, I remember when in our training class, the mainframe for the computer took up an entire room. Those were the days. Now it's a little thing like this.
Right, right. What was your MOS in the Navy?
Navy didn't have MOS, sir. When you're in the Navy, we get,
What do they call it?
it's called a rating.
A rating?
Yes.
That's what they call the position?
In the Navy, yes, rating.
Rating. Oh.
Yeah, Army call it MOS. I think all the others do. Army,
think so.
Army, Coast Guard, not Coast Guard. Army, Marines, and Air Force. I think they say MOS, but the Navy,
So the Navy has to be different, right? The Navy's
we're
about-
different. We're special.
Well, you give everybody a ride too, right?
We
They
do.
need you, right?
That's correct.
Gotta be nice to the Navy.
Yes, so I was at the time it was called aviation storekeeper. They have a different thing for it. Basically, the position was anything relating to the air. I was in an aircraft squadron. Anything relating to the aircraft, any parts or anything that relating to the aircraft, my department was responsible for ordering them and stocking them. Also, anything related to the employees' military gear, their uniforms, their flight jackets, their shoes, they call them boots, the boots, different things, anything related to their gear, we ordered that also.
So you must have been popular. You had to connect, right? Like, hey man.
The storekeepers,
Sure you're-
aviation storekeepers were, we were, and so and I liked that job. It was an office job.
Right,
I did not go and shoot any guns. I didn't, have to watch any.
But what about basic training?
Basic training? I did shoot guns.
Right.
Yeah, basic training, shoot guns. Well, actually, now that I say that, my last duty station was in Key West, and I was in a special unit where I had to wear a gun and climb walls, jump off walls. I hated it.
You're like, I didn't sign up for.
I did not, but I had to do it for a while. So I walked around with M16 and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now let me ask you real quick though, with the basic training for the Navy, and obviously because I don't know, is it true that you have to jump off the ship at some point, right, where your hands tied and go down? Or that's more like.
In boot camp, we're trained to do that. It's not that you have to do it; you have to know how to do it. Should you need to do it? And yes, so you go down and you jump down into the water, and the uniform you have on is called a dungaree pants. Back then, I don't know if it's changed now. It was supposed to help you stay afloat. It's a very uncomfortable material, but it was supposed to help you stay afloat. Then you jump off foot first, of course. You don't.
How you jumped off?
Well, in boot camp, I did.
How does that impact?
Well, it wasn't a ship. It was a pool. We had an Olympic-sized pool, and we jumped into the pool, and then we had to swim, do backstrokes to the end of the pool and things like that, and then you pass the swimming part of it.
Now, talking about going back to how you mentioned the Navy helped you, I don't know if you want to say fight your fears or give you confidence to speak in public, right? Because of, you said you have the stuttering.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're saying all this, I didn't know this, but now looking back, as I recall, like I mentioned earlier in the interview, when I saw you, giving a discussion to this room, you did it with so much confidence. You may have stuttered every once in a while, but it was to the point where I didn't even notice it because I'm so engaged in you, the communicator. So was that more so the Navy, or did that kind of fall over into as you got more educated and you got more comfortable, obviously research?
I'll be honest with you, I became very comfortable with myself, maybe between 5 to 10 years ago now.
10 years ago from now?
About that, yeah. Even when I was at the hospital working, I still had that fear. I still had that fear. So somewhere in the last 10 years, I one day said, you know what, I am who I am. So what if I stutter? It's my signature, Stephen Davis, stutterer. And I would like to say it doesn't define me, but it does define me. But it's okay to be, for me, it's okay to be defined by that. because I know who I am. I know what I can do. I know what I have to offer people. I know I can communicate, and I know I communicate well. And so I would just talk. I would just talk and not even think about it. I mean, I teach every day. I'm speaking every day. I grew up where people telling me you won't be able to amount to anything. You know, you're silly. You're dumb. You can't speak. And now I'm speaking in classes, in front of classes and students. I'm speaking at conferences. I'm speaking at my church. I'm speaking on a podcast now. So, if a stutter happens while I'm speaking now, okay, it'll happen. But it's not. It doesn't mean that it has to be the end of the interview. There are many great people who stutter. Our president, our current president, and we have no stutters. And what's his name? James Earl Knight. No, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones? Jones,
not Knight. James Earl Knight is the conference center. He stutters. There was a singer way back in the 30s, I think he was, called Mel Torme. He stuttered. So there's a movie. In fact, there was a movie about a British king, the king, and I think it was called The King and I think it was called.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember a few years back.
Yeah.
A lot of awards. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that was one of my favorite movies. And I watched. I think that was when I really said, okay, all right. And I watched that guy, and I saw him go through similar things that I went through. I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. So confidence, it took me a while. Sometimes I wish it happened when I was in my 20s. But it happened when it happened, and guess what? I'm where I am today. And I'm comfortable with it. I don't like stuttering. I'd rather I didn't stutter. I'd rather I go through a session with you here talking and no stutter comes out. I would rather that happen. However, that may not be the case. But it doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Right.
So.
And if you don't mind, I want to just pause for a minute, and you just mentioned something that, you're not alone. And for anybody that's watching or even listening to this podcast, whether you have a stutter or something else that perhaps you're not comfortable with, you're not alone. So, again, this podcast is designed to help people, to inspire you, and to ultimately let you know that there is alternatives, right? And the alternative is to don't stop like you did. You didn't give up. You just kept moving. You kept elevating. You kept, raising the bar with your education. And now going with that, speaking of raising the bar with your education, let's talk a little bit about that journey of your education.
Okay. When we met each other, I had a master's degree in human resource development. So, but let's backtrack a little bit. As I've mentioned earlier at the beginning of the interview, I have an associate degree from Broward College, Broward Community College in hospitality management. And then went into the Navy, and then from the Navy, while in the Navy I got my bachelor's degree in business administration. After the Navy, I got out of the Navy, and I was going through a divorce at the time. And I drowned my sorrows in education. Interesting, I didn't drown my sorrows in a bottle of alcohol.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Red Stripe or
white rum, Appleton rum. Yeah, I didn't do that. I drowned my sorrows in education because I felt that I knew I could be successful in that. I went and did my master's degree in human resource development. Then I went and worked in that field. I was in that field for a number of years. And human resource development is the training part of human resources, the education part of HR. And I went in that field, and I love it. And after that, I was just before I went to Bethesda to work. I was working at Florida Memorial University down in Miami in the Career Development Center. And I did that for a number of years. I did it for 10 years, actually. And I liked it. I did some training in that, some career development training in that. But when I went to the hospital to work, I decided I wanted to get a doctorate degree I want to get a doctorate degree in business. And so I said, okay, it'd probably be better if I got an MBA, which would be like a launching pad for the doctorate in business. So I went and got an MBA from Florida Memorial University. Did that in a year and 4 months. Did that in a year and 4 months, MBA. After the MBA, I went straight into the doctorate degree in organization and management from Capella University. So when you met me, I was doing the MBA, then I went into the Ph.D. And that was an interesting experience, going all the way to the Ph.D., very costly, because it was a private school, or it's a private school. And then I decided to want to get back into the classroom to teach. So I then left Bethesda. Even though at Bethesda I was teaching at what they call the training level, the corporate level. So, but when I want to get back in the classroom, and so I left Bethesda and went into the college environment at Strayer University, spent 7 years at Strayer University, and then transitioned to Broward College, where I am now. So, I would not want to do high school education, K through 12. I want post-secondary education. I like that. So it has its hiccups here and there, as every job does, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm assuming, like you said, you prefer people on their second route of education, meaning someone that's going advanced after high school. Now, I would assume that's also because people that are in colleges and universities, they're in the process of making decisions for the rest of their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the degree or the courses they're taking. So I can imagine that's probably why you want to be in this institution at that point of people's journey, because I think that's where you excel the most. When people talk to you, like I have several times, about advice about life, whether it's personal or career-wise, I can imagine how much of an impact you're making over there at the school for these kids now. I shouldn't say the kids, they're adults, they're young adults. What is it that you find the most gratifying about being in your position now?
Oh, most gratifying. There's so many things. I like the fact that I'm able to impart knowledge to other people. I like the fact that I can see somebody grow. One of the best things, best feelings for me as a teacher is I'm teaching a class and the students are not getting a concept. They don't understand a concept. And the minute they understand a concept, I can tell. Their eyes light up, their body movement change, body posture changes. Like, okay, that person got it. So I like sharing my experiences with people. I think I've had some good experiences that I can help. I like helping people. I also like the fact that I can learn from students. There's so much I learn from students. I was teaching a class, Introduction to Business, and this class had a lot of freshmen that was coming out straight out of high school. And they were put in groups to do a group project, different groups, and this guy was talking about his product, and I didn't understand what he was talking about. It made no sense to me. And then before you know it, the entire class was teaching me about this, what the product he was going to be selling. I was like, oh. And there was sneakers where he would paint over the sneakers and sell it back. That was his project. Like, okay, it's interesting. Wouldn't have learned that if I wasn't in the classroom. So I gain a lot from my students, a lot, especially with technology advancing so quickly. I'm able to gain a lot from them. They're able to show me how to do certain things, what to do, what not to do, how to say it, those kind of things. I tell them from the first day, I tell them, I'm never too old to learn. You can tell me I did something wrong, and I say, okay, let me look into it. Or, okay, you're right, I'm wrong. That's the way I believe it ought to be.
Right. You can definitely always learn from someone. And piggyback on that statement, what makes a good student? All your years, what's a clean cut you can say this is going to make a good student?
Someone who is engage in the class. Someone I can see who's trying. It doesn't have to be an A student. It could be a C student. But that student is trying so hard, you can tell they're trying. They may not be test takers and things like that, so they're trying and those kind of things. And so I watched. What makes them a good student is that the effort that they put out. The respect that they show to their colleagues and to me. Because I don't like people disrespecting me or disrespecting other people. So I said they show respect to their colleagues, show respect to me, we're okay. So those are some of the things where I look for in a good student, what I was a good student. So just turning in your work that's a good thing, but it's more than just turning your work in.
Gotcha.
Because there's so many issues people have to face right now in life.
And the flip side of that, I'm sure through your years of experience with students, you've heard it all. You've heard all the excuses. Does anything come to your mind you can share was probably the most elaborate or outrageous reason why they missed an assignment or didn't come to class?
I had a student tell me that his son ate the homework.
His son ate the homework?
It's usually the dog, right? But this student said the son. I said, you know what? That's good. You're original. I'll give you a break. Because that was original excuse, that was a good one. The son ate the homework. I never heard anything like that again. Right. He was the number one and the only one. So yes, you do hear stuff. You do.
Wow. Well, you also mentioned that technology plays a big role.
Right.
In your day-to-day. So let's talk a little about that, because you do teach different courses.
Right.
So let's talk about how technology plays a role.
So I'm in the business pathway at Broward College, specifically supervision and management. So a lot of the classes I teach are what is called soft skills courses: leadership, management, human resources, entrepreneurship, those kind of things, soft management skills. However, technology has just bombarded it. For one thing, let me give an example. They have, they have what we call high flexibility classes. I'm not sure if you took any of those when you were at Broward College, but I know other schools have it. Broward College is not unique to it. And so what the high flexibility classes does, it offers the student, gives the student an option to whether come to class or stay somewhere remote and do the classes. So I'm in the classroom teaching, and they are wherever they are learning. Some students are here in the classroom learning also. It's called high flexibility. So with that, I had to get taught how to do that. And that's important. It's an important skill, because guess what? I'm able to get a job. I'm able to work at a conference, speaking to people across the world, at the same time speaking to people here in the room. So it does give you that experience. So another way that technology has come into the classrooms is that they have a thing called artificial intelligence. I'm sure you've heard about that. Artificial intelligence, where the students people are allowed to use a bot, the thing they call it a bot, to communicate with. And the bot is very intelligent, super intelligent. And so I'm able to, because of the experience with the students, I'm able to find ways, or I'm finding ways, let me say it this way, I'm finding ways to integrate artificial intelligence into my curriculum. I went to a conference in June, and it was a big portion of the conference was about AI. And I went into those sessions that dealt with AI, because I want to be able to. So you see somebody's paper and you know it's not their writing it, and they got the plagiarized from AI, but then AI is not going anywhere.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. It's only going to get better. And so I realized that I need to have an understanding of it to be able to set up my paper that they have to write and things like that, and also to be able to articulate to them what they should or should not use, or how they shouldn't use it, because there's a variety of AI platforms out there, as I'm sure you know.
Right.
So it's important, and you cannot get away from technology. In fact, I tell people all the time that the very chair that we're sitting is a form of technology,
Right, right, that's true.
because technology basically enhances our life. And we'll the chair, we will have to sit on the ground. So the chair is enhancing our lives. So that's technology. So I try to let them realize that everything we have is a form of technology. So you don't have to be afraid of technology. And so I'm there. I will teach them on how to maneuver the internet, the library, those kind of things. Come the fall, I'm going to teach them how to monitor, maneuver GPT chat. I'm going to have them do assignments using GPT chat, and other ones. Another one that is equally as popular. Another AI tool.
The Google, I know Google has one.
Google just started theirs, right? Because when you type in Google now, it tells you, it gives you the AI thing first.
I think it's Gemini, I'm not sure.
That's what it's called. Yes.
Is it Gemini?
But and I started to use GPT chat now. It is amazing. I was preparing something the other day, and I wrote it out. I wrote out what I wanted to say, and I said to GPT chat, put this information in a neat order for me, please. And what I was saying was there. They added a few words or two, but it explained exactly how I wanted to say. So I said it. So in my mind now, I've used it to create a thought or some thoughts, but then I go back in and say, okay, let me edit these thoughts, because this does not represent me. I wouldn't say that. Those kind of things. And I edit it and get it to where I want it to be. It's interesting. And so for the fall term, I'm in the process of using one class, the training and development class I'm teaching. I'm going to use that as my pilot on incorporating AI into the curriculum. By January term, I'll have 2 or 3, definitely 2, maybe 3 classes I'll have where I have done that. So
I think that's great. I think honestly, the approach, like you're saying, has to be thinking outside the box.
Right.
Like you said, technology's not going anywhere. AI is just going to continue to get advanced. They have quantum computing, which is here now, but that's around the corner when I think it hits like the mass market of the consumer end of quantum computing. So for right now, you have AI and all these different applications and software. So as a professor in a school, I think it makes sense to say, hey, look, I'm going to design some curriculum as a test pilot to see how can I incorporate the ChatGPT with my training and my seminars and my lectures with my students. Because like you said, they're going home using it, right? Because you've seen papers where it clearly sounds like a robot. My thing, when someone asks me, if you had to give me an answer right now of how to combat that, I would say, if I was an instructor or a professor, I would say tell my students that everything has to be handwritten, right? And the reason why people can argue and say, well, they'll just write off the computer. Yeah, they might, but most likely, if someone has to write a report, they're having to take time to sit there and write every single thing down, right? So if you write 1,000 words, I'm sure, and if you really wrote it, and now if I'm your professor and I say, hey, Stephen, I'm looking over here at your report you wrote to me. Can you just tell me a little bit about the report? And there you go. tell me about what you said in that last paragraph. Oh, I don't remember. Well, how can you not remember? You did all this research, right? You wrote it. It's your handwriting, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's just off the cuff. But speaking about how it helps people, it also hurts, right? Technology hurts. And you mentioned that the soft skills, right? And it's funny that you say that, because that's through this year so far, we're pretty much in the middle of the year, but I've been to different conferences and different rooms with people, and I hear that a lot about the importance of having soft skills. And so I guess my question to you is, the students that you're seeing now in your classroom, where are they at in a level of soft skills if they had to go the next day to get a job?
One thing about Broward College is that is the bachelor's degrees, because I teach in a bachelor's degree program. Bachelor's degree is a bachelor's degree of applied science. And so you could go to another institution and they have a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. But Broward College is Bachelor of Applied Science, which means that, my boss told me one time, they have to take it and apply it. It has to be an application thing. So in the core shell, we build in an application project and also an assessment. So with the application part, we'll bring in guest speakers. The guest speakers can ask them questions. Or they can ask the guest speakers questions. They can ask them questions. Get more knowledge. They can practice. They're encouraged to bring their laptops to class. Of course, I walk around the room because I don't want them to be watching a movie. I had a student once who was watching a movie in class. Yeah. So I encourage them, and so I will say, okay, we're talking about cameras. Can somebody look up and tell me what is Stefan about cameras? From that definition you just read, what do you understand? So it's a mixture of all those things. So they're using the computer, but they're being forced to use the computer to do something meaningful, and they're going to be assessed afterwards by it.
Yeah, because that's one thing you notice, I mean, with people today, especially with the generations that are coming up, technology is everywhere. The devices are right in front of them, right? They can't let it go. And I think, like you're saying, if you can use the device because you know they have it and help them work on the interaction, the face-to-face, that's probably the only hope they have, because the other alternative is someone just with their head down, always on their phone. They're never taking their head up to interact with anyone. I think those people are lost, right? Because they're going to assume, almost kind of goes back to your introverted comment, I'm going to be introverted, I'm going to be in my little bubble on my phone, I don't need to talk to people. I guess that works if you're independently wealthy, but if you most people have to communicate on a day-to-day basis, they're going to be in a lot of trouble unless you have a professor like yourself that's trying to merge the two.
Because I don't stand at a podium and talk. I move around, and so that was how I found out that student was watching a movie, because he had his thing in it and he had his phone, and I kept wondering, okay, why is he? I know he's not looking up. I know he's not researching anything. Right. What is he doing? And so I just kept talking. And I walk around the room, and next thing you know, I'm standing here and I'm seeing people, I'm seeing people on the screen, people moving. I said, okay, what's going on there? And I came and I said, are you watching a movie? And he was surprised. I said, I can't believe you're watching a movie. And I had him stop and everything like that. Sure. But another thing what I do to keep them engaged in class, because it's important to keep them engaged in class. We have a new thing now we call micro lectures. So instead of lecturing for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you lecture for 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes is a bit long. And then you give them, you put them in a group, or you have them working on something based on what you just taught. So it's like immediate feedback, immediate application rather. And so I remember sharing a story recently in class about the student who I had some years ago watching the movie. And believe me when I tell you, that became the discussion for that entire class. Because a student piped in and said that in her job, she's an HR trainer, and in her job, she had an employee in orientation who did something like that, and they sent her home. And then another student chimed in, and we became this discussion for the entire class. Now, some people said, how did that relate? This class was a seminar in business course. I was able then to take tenets, take pieces from that discussion and relate it to the business environment. How would you handle it? What kind of feedback would you give the person? How could you prevent it? and different ones were given different insights, and it was the same thing that was in the textbook. Same thing was in the textbook that it just came because these are working adults.
Sure, right.
You know, when it comes to the technology part, why is it important? Because come the fall, I'm going to be spending a good time talking about ChatGPT and other AI platforms. What are the pros and the cons of this thing? How can we use it to benefit us? Why is it that companies there are companies right now who are saying when your graduating class crosses a stage, we need them to come into the workplace being familiar with artificial intelligence. They need to know what it is. They need to know how to use it, etc. So then we now are going to say, no, don't use artificial intelligence, then we're crippling our students. Right. So I, as a teacher, have to familiarize myself with AI, which is why I went to a conference in June about AI and high flex learning, high flex teaching rather. So I can be better, I can be knowledgeable about it and be able to now use it in my classes, able to allow them to use it. I'm going to have them do projects with AI.
That's crazy.
They're going to be using AI, using any specific, and they're going to have to tell me which platform they're using, use AI to do something, to do a project, and then compare it to something out of their head. What was the difference? Was it harder? Was it easier? What did you learn? What did the AI tool spit out and give you? Was it 100% accurate? Was it everything you wanted?
Right.
Did they spell all the words correctly?
Right.
Were the syntax okay? So when they go into the workplace now and they use something that is an AI, they don't give it to the director or the VP that is all messed up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep, that's true. No, it's true because everywhere you turn around, they're talking about AI and they're offering courses. I know Google offers a lot of courses. Amazon offers a lot of courses. Some of them are free, especially for students. It's something you can tell your students to look out. And if things that I come across, I'll send them to you. I'll email them to you. Well, before we wrap up, I do want to mention a couple questions to you about the alternative to college, right? And what I mean is, when I had mentioned a few
That's
people
a good point.
that I was going to sit down with you, and I talked to some people who are on the other spectrum of college. They're either independently educated or they just didn't go the typical college route. So for those individuals, and right now with a lot of young adults, 19, 18, high school, they're looking at the future. I have a stepson who's 14 years old. They're thinking about, what am I going to do when I get out of high school? The power of technology is so powerful, and it's such a powerful manipulation tool as well for the youth, meaning that you can see a video and this guy says, hey, you don't need school, you don't even need to put your face on the screen, you can make a bunch of money, this is how you do it, right? So you got that part. Then you have someone else saying, hey, you don't need college, we have AI, we have all these platforms, you can learn everything online, don't give the school your money. Then you have the other part, here we are with the education, universities. So how do you...
That's a very good question. As an educator in the college university environment, I want people to come to college. I like being paid. I've gotten used to getting a paycheck. I'm not ready to give it up yet. Right. So I do like that. But from a practical point of view, college is not for everybody. I think that there are some people who can do, okay, I'll give you an example. I have one of my young friends, he goes to my church, and he didn't go to college. This is a 4-year college. He went to a trade school and did air conditioning, HVAC. Or some people would want to turn up their nose at the HVAC person. But if you live in Florida, you don't turn up your nose at the HVAC. Right. You don't, because you definitely need them, okay? Right. And he is now my AC technician for my house. I pay him some money quite often. So the point is that he went and did that. That was I don't know how long his course was for. Probably I must say 3 months. I don't know how long it is for. He did that. I have another young friend from my church also. He's doing plumbing, and he's in his 20s. Should I turn up my nose at that young man for doing plumbing? No, because guess what? I may need a plumber. In fact, in the past, I have needed plumbers to come. Because when that toilet overflows or when the pipe bursts, I don't know how to go fix that pipe. Now, not only do I not know how to do it, I don't want to. And so then you can have somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur. Do you need to go to college to be an entrepreneur? I don't think so. YouTube is excellent. YouTube have a lot of videos there. LinkedIn have a lot of videos. There's a lot of resources out there, and you have to be able to apply them to your benefit. Now, if you want to become a lawyer, you're going to have to go to college. You cannot go to YouTube and watch some videos and then go practice law. Right. It's just not going to happen. If you are going to be a medical doctor, I'd rather you go to medical school. Right. And learn how to be a medical doctor so you can look after me. Same with nursing. So it depends on what you want. It depends on the path you want to go. So, I mean, some parents in the past, when I was growing up, and even after that, too, even years after that, some parents would say, you must go to college. Right. And they forced that child to go to college, and that child hated college. Did not do well at all. Or even if they passed their courses and graduated, got into the field, they never enjoyed. If you're going to be a teacher, K through 12 teacher, I want you to go to college. So it depends. So to answer your question, it depends on what the person's path is, the path that they choose to take. That's why they need to research the path that they want to take. And I think that should be developed from elementary school all the way to high school. So by the time they get to high school, they know that they want to become. And by the way, leaving high school, you could say you want to become a plumber, and then a year into a plumber, you don't like it. You want to switch. That's okay. There's nothing to say you have to stay into a field that you go into. You just don't want to keep changing fields because you waste a lot of money and waste a lot of time. And before you know it, you're at 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and you didn't have a meaningful career. So it depends on what they want to be in life, what they want to do. If they want to be an entrepreneur, there are different webinars, different courses. Get a mentor, somebody in the field, shadow them, learn those things, read a lot. Another thing too, education doesn't only have to be in this classroom, in the four walls of the classroom. Your life should be an education. It's called lifelong learning. Everything you do. If I was driving coming here and I went into the express lane, I said to myself, okay, I sure hope that this express lane has an exit before Hillsborough, or I'm going to have a problem. So that was a learning experience. So now I know that there is an exit going north on 995 for Hillsborough. It lets you off at Southwest 10th Street, I think. I know that now, so I've learned something. So that was an education for me right there. So life has educations built into it. You really need to be cognizant of that. Be aware that this happened and it was a learning tool. And you take it, you store it away in your mind, and be ready to pull from it later on. So to go back to your question, formal college education is good for some people, is not good for other people. And it depends on the path you want to take in life. And then once you've researched the path, use the resources available to you, YouTube, books, different self-help videos, talking to people one-on-one. use the resources available for you. Then you determine what path you want to take. Excuse me. And college may be the path. And when you go to college, choose the right path in college, the right program in college. A lot of colleges, Broward College, for example, they have courses that are not the formalized path type of courses. You choose them, get in them, enjoy them, and be the best that you can be. To use the old army phrase, be all you can be the best you can be.
So, but basically, start somewhere. Start something, right? Because I talk to a lot of, like I said, my stepson's 14, so I see kids around his age. Sometimes we have conversations about careers in college. And it's funny what you mentioned about trade school, because that's what I had mentioned to them. I said, never take trade off the shelf.
Don't.
We may not glamorize it on TV and in movies, but it's a very successful career, very lucrative career, especially as time goes on. And I really appreciate being honest. That's an honest question, that college is not for everyone.
But the thing about a mechanic, I had a BMW. You knew me with a BMW. I don't have it anymore.
No?
I changed it last December, but I had a BMW and I kept it.
Okay.
No, not quite. I'm not there yet. I had that car. I paid it off. Was driving it. And Stephen, it got to be 12 years old. The car was 12 years old. I bought it new. It was 12 years. I bought it 2 years old, rather, not new. I bought it 2 years old, so I had it for 10 years. And all the original parts began to wear out. It's a BMW. Their parts are not cheap.
No.
It's a Toyota. The parts are not cheap. I'm not putting down Toyota, but the Toyota parts are cheaper.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I put some money into that car. To the point I said no, because I did not know how to fix those things. And I didn't know that I had the patience to go watch it on video, on YouTube, and go do it. I don't have the patience to do that. It would frustrate me. And so I was putting money into this thing month after month after month. We're talking thousands of dollars. I said, no, this is not working for me. But the mechanic got it. He made rich. He got rich off of me. That mechanic made some money. He was happy. He was smiling when I came in.
Not bad, yeah.
You know. So yes, he left work dirty. He had grease all over his finger and his nails and his clothes. Well, he went home and took a shower, changed his clothes,
That's right.
put on some cologne,
That's it.
went on the road, walked by me in the store, looked and smelled just as good as I looked and smelled, and guess what? He had more money in his pocket than I did, because I don't give him all my money. Same with the plumber, the AC guy.
AC's big.
You know, in South Florida, you can't get, you can try it, but you won't be happy. You know?
Right.
You know,
That's a lesson for you out there.
yeah,
AC, mechanics, what else?
plumbing,
Electrical.
Electricals,
Carpentry.
There's so many. I tell people, if that is what you want to do, go for it and just be good at it.
Right.
Be good at it, because there will always be somebody who needs your service.
Right.
Always be someone who needs your service, and I'll be one of those people.
Right. Yeah.
The lawn guy.
Yeah.
I have no desire to go cut no grass.
Right.
That was not good English right there. I don't have the desire to be outside cutting the lawn.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And finally, the final question, I know you've been waiting for this one, is what is the secret to life? In your opinion.
Wow. Perfect one to end with. If I can help somebody as I travel on, then my living shall not be in vain. I'll take that and I hold to it dearly. My success is based on me helping other people, making life beneficial for other people, making life worthwhile for other people. When I going back to the AI, incorporating AI into my curriculum is showing people that I have to be pragmatic about this. AI is here to stay. It's going to get bigger and bigger as time goes by. How can I use that to help students? So instead of putting them down, I'm helping them. So my belief of being success to life is based on, for me, is based on helping other people. Well, let me backtrack. You have to help yourself first. Remember when we used to fly, they used to say, should the airplane lose pressure, the mass going to come down there. If you're traveling with someone smaller than you or older than you who may need help, put yourself first. Then you can help other people. So I help me first. So I go to workshops, I go to conferences, I read, I watch different videos so I can help myself. By helping myself, I can help you, Stephen. And you should remember this. I was always trying to show you different things to help.
Yes.
Because that is, I take pleasure in seeing you being successful. So I help me to help other people. And that, to me, is the secret of success in life. Don't be selfish. Reach out and help somebody. Again, if I can help somebody as I travel on, then my living won't be in vain. If my living is not in vain, that means I have a successful life. And so, yes, money is important. Living in a nice house is important. Driving a nice car is important. Being able to speak well is important. All things are very important. But for me, it's what I do with those things that I have achieved that will make me a success in life. I want, when I am at my funeral, I don't know what the after. I don't know if there's an afterlife. I don't know what afterlife is like, but I want to think that if I'm able to come and be at my funeral and watch and sit beside my casket and they're talking about me, they'll all say, Stephen was successful in life because he always helped somebody. So that my key to success is helping people, being able to help people and actually helping people. So.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. It was actually very moving. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about this man is no joke. He just to share something on a personal note before we end here. As we said earlier in this podcast, that how we met back in 2006. But there was times in that year that I went through some rough personal situations, and I was able to confide that into Mr. Davis here, and he actually guided me. He gave me help more than just words, and I'll never forget him for that. And by you saying what you do and your mantra, he lives that. He does want to help people. You help people in Broward. You've been helping people your whole career. You helped me personally. And I just wanted to say thank you for being open, being honest, being transparent, taking time to sit here with me on this beautiful Saturday afternoon to share your story and your journey. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with for your students or anybody in particular? Any message?
Well, my message is to you, really. I want to say for your audience that I am extremely proud of you. I don't know look at them, audience.
Where are they?
Where are the audience?
Keep it down.
You're talking too much. Audience, I'm really proud of Stephen Prano here. I am. When I realized that he was doing a podcast, I went and I searched it online and I looked it up and I watched a few clips, and I said, I'm so proud of him, because you've always had an entrepreneurial mindset, always. And you had some challenges, yes, you did. I watched you work through the challenges, and you come in my office and you sit down and you would just talk. And what I appreciate about you was that you would listen to what I had to say. Even if you didn't agree with what I had to say, you said to me, I'll think about that and get back to you. And you would change your mind and say, I don't want to do that. Okay. But you would listen. And I respect what you have done. I remember when you were involved in a play. You were a playwright. Do you remember that time? You're a playwright. And you would bring the play to me. You would let me read it, support like that. And this podcast is just simply awesome. Awesome. I hope you invite me back. Absolutely. I hope you will come to my classes and talk to my students about your journey to get where you are today. He recently graduated, y'all.
That's right.
A bachelor's degree, right?
Bachelor's degree.
Yeah. I'm just proud of you. So I wish you all the best with this. So my message to you is keep doing it, man.
Thank you.
Don't stop. You're gonna have some challenges, because that's life.
Right.
But just keep doing it. Don't give up. Do not give up. You always a person that pushed through. You had some people on the job, I remember, give you hard times, but you pushed through. Don't stop. So congratulations and keep going.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much to the audience. Wherever you're consuming our content, we do appreciate your continued support. We only ask, like always, if you can just share this video with as many people as you can. And if you have time, you can also like the video if you found some value in the information. And if you have any questions for Mr. Davis here, Dr. Davis, you can reach out to me and I can get a hold of him for you. Again, he's a professor at the Broward College, and he would love to have you as a student if that's where you're at in life.
Or a guest speaker.
And again, I do appreciate your time coming here. We appreciate you guys at home. Thank you for watching the podcast. Again, I'm Stephen Perano, your host. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.